Okay, hello everyone. So JS class was having some issues. Rudra was having some issues with the laptop, so he wasn't able to take that revision class. We'll have it another Sunday. So like next Sunday or Saturday, whenever he's free, we can have that at that time. Okay. Okay. Did anyone try doing all the operations? Create, read, update, delete. Anyone? No one tried. No one tried doing that. Uh, I tried a little bit. Okay. Okay, just try them because this is really important. Use query selector and class list. Very good. Very good. The most important thing is how to use query selector. In 90% of the cases, you will use that. So you should know how to use that typically. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll take the code from the previous day. Today's day 16. 16. Okay. We'll take the same code. Do practice JS because you won't understand JS without practicing because it's little bit tougher than HTML CSS. You'll understand the concept easily, but there might be places where you won't be able to execute it. Okay. So we had studied something called as an event. Okay. So anyone, what is an event, listener? Again, I'll just for revision purposes. Anyone, what's an event, listener? No one. You can speak. If you have issues, you can just let me know. If you don't know, then you can say no. I'll explain that again. We just went through one of the event listener last time. Anyone? Okay. So what is event listener basically? Whenever you perform any event on a button, so if we have multiple options like this, I'll show you. Just for example, I'll open live server. So what happens is you might have different events on your laptop or keyboard depending on whatever you do with your mouse. So sometimes you click mouse, hold the mouse for some time on the particular button. You may click space bar, you may click enter. In many cases, you see if you click enter, the input fields goes from one place to another place. So that happens with the help of key binding or something like that, which is done through JS, which can't be done with HTML CSS basically. So whenever you fill up any contact form, what happens if there are multiple fields? If you just click enter, it goes to the next option. It goes to the next option. Or in those cases, JS is typically really useful. And today also we'll learn if you have to do some fun stuff with JS, why it's better to do, and it also helps in making gaming concepts also. Sometimes if you have to make some game of uh, like the snake and the ball game that we used to play when we were small, so to do those kind of stuff also we'll require JS. And basically event listeners are whenever you have to perform some function on button, or cards or something like that. In those cases specifically, this is typically useful. Okay, so that's the basic of event listening. Once you try this out, you will get to know it better. So with event listener, you just have to call that particular button. Like here we have simple button in HTML here, so we have just called it using query selector, and then we'll add a event listener. So just to call that, you need to just use add event listener and define whatever function you have to do. Suppose if you have to do something on a click, you will say click. Okay, and then you can define your own function here, or it's better to always create a function name here and then use it, right? So I'll just create something like on click. Last time the same thing I did was I just created a function here and I'll call that function below. Okay, try creating functions more as compared to just writing code anonymously anywhere, so that it will be easy for you to debug too and to work out with it too. Okay. Okay, then we studied something called as an event E. Anyone, what is the use of event listener E? Okay, with event listener E, what you can do is E dot target and E dot method. These all help us to identify at what place this event is occurring. So if you want to know where the specific event is occurring, so we'll use E dot target, and what E dot target will do is it will help me to know where this event is fired and what object it is fired. So suppose I am doing this specifically on a button, so it will tell me the target element is a button. So whenever I click this, you can see, and console will be able to see, where it is fired. Okay, so as soon as I click this button, it shows. Oh, did I link the app.js file? We'll do it 16. Okay, so as soon as I click this, it shows that the function is performed on this button. So in many cases what happens is it doesn't depend on button. It can also happen that you can take the target item as this list item, or you can take this h5 element other than this button, and you can perform functions on that. So you don't have to worry that why it's only taking this. You can take other elements also. So as soon as today's class will be mostly focused on that, how do we work with event keyword here, E. Okay, so then also we can get the id class, everything with it. So we can do E dot target dot id, and you can get the id for it. So here we have a class, so we can check class name, and we'll get the class name for it. Class name, and it should show simple button, so it shows that particular class too. So if you have to check particular class event, so we can do it through that. Okay.
So, are you recording the session?
Yes, it is recording, don't worry. Okay, so are you clear with this? Any doubts regarding this aspect? If any doubts, let me know. Target is basically, it helps to know in which specific particular event it is happening. So suppose here it's happening particularly on button, you can even take an h5 link, you can take an h1 link, you can take ul, you can take a link. Any of that can be taken if you have to perform this specific event. Okay, similarly e dot target dot id also is there, same like class name, class id, everything. Class list also is there, but here we have only one class, so in class list we won't get anything other than one element. Okay, so moving on, there's something called as val equal to e dot type. So what will happen, anyone can guess? Try guessing what will happen if we do e dot type. It's basically event type. So what should be the event type if we run this? Anyone? What should be the event type if we run it? The answer is on the screen only, so just try guessing.
Click.
Yes, great. Okay, so yes, if I click that, it shows the type of event. Okay, There are many events, so we have also mouse over. I'll show you. There's something called as mouse over. So what happens with mouse over? If you just go over the button, it will render that event. Okay, so every time you do it, it will add up that quantity here and you can show it. Okay, so this is how you do e.type. Specifically very useful when you are doing gaming type of events, or you have to make something which requires a lot of if you have to show something like a tooltip or something like that on a button to tell what this button does or what happens if you do something on this. So in these cases e.type is really helpful. Then we also have something called as e.timestamp. So by the name it shows it what it should do. Anyone? If we click it, what should happen if timestamp? Hey guys, guess function name. You can try guessing what it should do. Timestamp.
That will show up for how much time the event is occurring.
Okay. So it shows whenever you have clicked on particular button. Okay. It shows at what particular time it has been done. So you can check that out as soon as the time goes. It keeps on increasing. Time when clicked. Right. Right. Okay. So you can log at what particular time it is working. Yes.
So what is the decimal point implies here in the timestamp?
This is milliseconds basically. MS. This complete quantity is in ms, and this is might be this is very small amount. Okay, so it would be micro or mini something, microseconds, something like that. Okay, 10 power minus 6, something like that. So you can check that out, but it records the time at when you have clicked starting from the event. So if I refresh the browser and click it initially in starting, so the time will be less. As you go on, the time increases. Okay, so that's how it works. You can check the unit. I don't know exactly what the unit is. What is this unit? You can check that unit. I think it's micro, it's milliseconds, but that 0.61 is microseconds. Okay, you can check that. This is really useful when you have to track at exams and everything like that. So when have you submitted the exam, when you have exited the exam, in these cases this is really helpful. I don't know. I assume that you won't like this kind of thing because it's done by your college. So, but still in many cases it's really helpful. Okay, so we'll write another one down below this. Okay, there's something called as client X, client Y. So what happens with client X, client Y is it records at what x-axis, at what y-axis a particular event is present. So first we'll take y and then we'll take x also. Okay, so at particular y, what happens is if you click this, it shows at what particular index you have clicked. So if you click it above, it shows 204. If you go beyond this button, it goes to the last index, so it goes to 20. Okay, if you click it here, it will still show the same 219 because it's in y-axis. Okay, so y-axis is like this, x-axis is like this. You can check for x also. I'll just do the same for x also. So you can do the same for x. Val client x, and you can check the x-axis values too. So in exercise this is must be 0 or something like 8, and as we move here it will be higher value. So you can check that out. Okay, but the difference between this is it is taking value starting from the window. So this point will be considered as a 0 point, and as soon as we go down, the values of x and y increases. Okay, so this is considered as an origin here, and here the values are increasing. But there's something called as uh, other than this client x, client y, this takes values from the window. So whatever window we have, this is a HTML window, it takes value from the window. There's something called as offset. What offset does is it takes value directly from the element. So it will consider the element as an origin and take elements from that. So this is more convenient and more useful when you have to do some certain operation, or you have to do certain process. So this will be really helpful when you have to perform anything like that specifically. Okay, and yeah, at first we'll check y and then we'll check x. Okay, with y offset what happens is it will consider this as an origin. This small object, it starts an element as an origin, and then the values go from here to. So if I click here on y-axis in the top, it should almost give you a value of 0. Okay, and as we move down, the value increases to maximum 17 or 20 might be the maximum value. Okay, so that's how it works, and in center it must be something like 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, similarly we have an x-axis. So is this clear? Is there any doubt with this, how this client and this work? There's a basic difference between them. Is this works with Windows, so it takes whole HTML window as its drawing plane. This takes element as its drawing plane. So the difference is that. Same here also, if you start from here, it will take this as 0. So this takes as 0 or minus 0, whatever, and then as you move on, it increases the value. Okay, so that's how it works. Okay, any doubts with difference between offset and client text? This is really confusing, so if you guys have doubts, please stop me.
I just want to ask, like, how, when can we use them? Like, where they will be useful in real world projects?
Okay, so I'll show you.
Can you explain with example?
Okay, so what we'll do is, at this end of this, I'll just show you some funny, or not funny, I'll just do some fun activity with it, so you will be able to understand this better. Okay, so what happens is, sir, can you repeat it again? Okay, sure. So what client x and y, what does this do is specifically takes values from window. So for it, origin starts from here. For them, the origin is starting from anywhere like this on x-axis, because this complete line they'll take it as an origin, and then the y-axis start from here. So they'll they take this window as an origin for them. And what happens with an element, with normal offset takes it from this element, so it will start this as an origin. It will consider, wait, I'll draw it in Excel draw and explain you. So for normally when you have an element, when you have something like my list here, so it will consider this complete window as an origin from here, and it will start counting elements from there. So something like this, it will consider, if you have an x value here, it will consider this like this. If you have something y on this axis, it will consider values from there. So for that, this is generally for the client part of it, but this won't be used in many cases. This is only used when you have to do something kind of an application based on an application which is a windowed application. So sometimes like an exam, in those cases you have to stop users from clicking certain button or disable something. In those cases, this client x and client y will be used, so you can track the exact location of a particular object there. But what element does is, it helps you to know, like suppose if I have taken a button, so it will take element as this button as a 0 axis. It will take this as 0 0. It will take this as 0 0 and start calculating values from here. So you can check this out, and it will tell exactly what y-axis, at what x-axis values are present. So if it will take this as 1 2 3 4 and so on. So that's why if you click here, it will show 0, and if you click here, it will show 42. Here it will give it a value as 0, and here it will give a value higher in y-axis, so something like 20. So but in this case, what will happen, it will consider, it will count from here. So it will, wait a second, I'll clear it. So in y-axis, what it will do is, and I have something like this, my list, it will start counting from here. It will consider this as 1 2 3 4 5, and so here 5 will come, and the first element, if you click on the top of a button here in client condition, it will show 5, while if you click it in the offset condition, it shows 0 here. So that's the difference. It will start from the element. Here it will start from the first HTML line that's present there. Okay, so that's the basic difference between them. More details I'll explain with a live example, and you'll be able to understand it better. Okay. Okay, thank you, sir. Any doubts other than this? No. Okay, so this is the difference between offset and offset and client. So one starts with window, one starts with the particular element. So this is the difference between them. So what we'll do is if you guys want, I'll just go through all the events first, and then we can go ahead and check these out. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll try different events now, and we'll print certain value with them. So what I'll do is I'll comment this out, and we can start doing certain commands. Okay, so we have studied two types of functions now, click and mouse over. There are around more than 13 or 14 events. You can check all of them out, but here we'll take only some of them, and we'll do event actions on those elements. So what I'll do is I'll extract this specific element. So like I'll take button here, and I'll call query selector for it, and then directly call the event listener class there. And what else should we take? We should take the heading, no? So is an h5 heading present, so we'll h1 heading, so we'll take that heading, and we'll do document dot query selector. Anyone has doubt what is a query selector now? I don't think you might be having doubts with that, what it does. So query selector, and then we can take task heading. So how to call task heading? We should use hash whenever you are referring to an ID. Okay, so that's the difference between them. And in case we'll call this div heading also, no, we'll change this to a card or something like that. Okay, I'll add a style also to this. What kind of CSS is this? Anyone?
Internal.
Okay, so we'll write box shadow, and we'll give something like 0 into 5, 0 into this, something like this. Okay, so yes, this shows up a card kind of thing. We won't require it, but to show the difference between different elements, that's why further we may require it. So that's why I've created a card kind of thing. So const card and document dot query selector, and what's the name of this? That's card. Great. Always remember these small things. Okay, this is internal, external CSS. If somebody asks you in an interview or something like that, or if you are taking an internship for HTML CSS, do remember these kind of things. Okay, so instead of on click, we'll write something called as run event, so it will be not specific. We learn different mouse events. So like we have studied click, now we'll study different kinds of them. So I'll write function run event, and we have to specify e inside always, because that's for an event. And now we'll see, we have studied click. Any doubts with click or anything like that? So click generally works when you have to do something related to clicking of it. There's something called as double click. So if you have to do double click, we just do db click, and now we'll do is console.log, and here what we'll do is we will do e.type. So what does e.type do? Anyone gives the
will print click.
it won't click. It will click. It will give click also, but I'm using double click, so it will show double click also. So that's correct. Event type is okay. So whenever you have to use something like this, when you have to embed variable and text together, what you have to do is you have to use the $sign and then the variable name inside this, and you should use these kind of parentheses. What should we call them? I don't know. It's present on the title symbol below. So whenever you have to embed text and variable together, always use this kind of structure, and you can see the difference. Okay.
Backtick it is called, sir.
Okay, great. I didn't know about it. So guys, we always done something new. Okay, it's not working. Did I make any mistake? Run event should work like this. Console.log event type. And it's not giving any error on clicking also. That's weird. I'll replace this with button. This should work, I think. DBL click. Okay, I think it's double. I think it's DBL click. I am not sure. I'll just check out. Yes, so if you double click, it's DBL click, and it shows that you have double clicked the button. Okay, so to use double click, use DBL click, and it works with that. Okay, so whenever you have to do something on double click, you can use double click, DBL click, and it will work with that. Okay, we'll comment this out and we'll do some other one. So double click, for double click, normal click you use normally click command if you have to do a normal click button. So I'll just show that also. So for click, you just click it and it launches the click option. Okay, a double click is specifically if you have to do something on double click event. Okay, then moving on, we can do something called as mouse down. So anyone, what should mouse down do? Anyone? It's on button only, so you can try guessing. It's a little bit tough, but you can still give a shot. What happens with mouse down is, if I have clicked on a particular button, till I don't move my cursor from it, it won't fire it up. Okay, did I write the spelling right? No, it's right. Till I don't move my mouse, it doesn't work. Mouse down should work. Let's try mouse up first. This isn't working too. Okay, I'll do mouse over then. Mouse over should work. Okay, so mouse over works when you go over that particular mouse, and if you leave back, you can do both of them together. So we'll do mouse over and mouse out. Okay, mouse over what will do, and as soon as you enter that particular element, it will run that, and when you do mouse out, it will run it when you go out of that button. So as soon as I leave the button, mouse out is fired, and as soon as I go over it, mouse over is fired. Okay, so is this clear? Any doubts with mouse over, mouse out?
Sir, mouse down, please repeat.
I'll do that. I think it's giving some error. It should work with mouse down. I don't know why it's not working.
It's on mouse down syntax.
It's on mouse down.
Yes.
Okay, I don't exactly remember the syntax. When I studied, no. It's there when you have to use it. Here it's on mouse down, but here you can use only mouse down. It should work with mouse down. Mouse down, what happens with mouse down is when you click on it, until unless you don't leave your cursor, it will fire that event, and as soon as you leave the cursor, mouse down will show. And mouse up, when you click on it, as soon as you click on it, mouse up shows up. So I don't know what's the incorrect syntax there, but that's how those occur. Okay. I'll see the syntax for them again and I'll get back to that. Okay. So next, there's something called as mouse enter and mouse leave. So these should also work. So yes, if you do the same thing, The difference between mouse over and mouse enter, anyone can try guessing. Mouse over and mouse enter. I'll explain it, but still you can try it till then. What I'll do is
When the cursor will be over the element, it will be mouse over. When we leave the element, then it will be mouse leave.
get it. Okay, so I'll explain this with the card, so you'll be able to understand this better. Okay, so I'll do this, and what I'll do is I'll add the button inside this div only. So okay, so what happens is, see, mouse mouse enter and mouse over both start at the same time. Okay, here wait a second, I'll refresh and start. Okay, by default it starts. Okay, as soon as I enter, both of them go inside. So mouse over mouse enter start. Okay, no problems up till now, no issues up till now. Okay, as soon as I go over some event, mouse over will say mouse out. Okay, mouse out is started, and as soon as I leave it, it will go away. So what happens, what's the difference between them is basically mouse over and mouse event work in a little bit different way. Mouse enter will work whenever you go over an event and leave it. Okay, it will work normally, but mouse over and mouse out, this mouse over and mouse out, specifically mouse over and mouse out, these work when you go over an element. Suppose if I go over this click button and leave it, still it will show mouse over and mouse out, but mouse enter and mouse leave will only work when I leave this particular event. So you can see mouse leave only works when I leave this, and mouse enter will work when I enter it. Okay, that's the difference between them. Mouse out and mouse over will work if you leave certain element present inside this also. If you go over and hover over li and then remove your mouser, it will still show something like that. So in those cases it's specifically different, that if it will work specifically on certain elements, and mouse enter and mouse leave only works when you go over a card or remove your mouse cursor from the card. Okay, so any doubts with this? Like the difference is if you go over an element inside inside this card, mouse over and mouse out will work on that too, but with mouse enter mouse leave, it works only in that particular boxed area. So if you have anything inside it, it will still consider that as a mouse enter, it won't go over that. So over means it goes over something, and mouse out means it removes its cursor from that specific place. So that's the basic difference between them, and they are almost typically the same, but it's always better to use them specifically at specific intervals. So we'll learn how to use them at specific places. So okay, I think, I don't know why mouse up and mouse down are not working. I'll check that and do it in the next class. Okay. Okay, there's something called as mouse move too. So what happens with mouse move is, add event listener and mouse move. So what should it do by the name, anyone?
When the mouse pointer will move over the element, within the element, I sorry.
Yes, if you move the element inside it, it will always trigger. Okay, so as you move mouse here, it will always run. Okay, so this is really helpful, and we can do some fun stuff now. I'll just show an example to do some fun things with it. Okay, so these are typically really boring, so we'll do something fun. Okay, we'll keep something like mouse move, and whenever we move mouse cursor over here and here, it will show at what coordinate my cursor is. So if I have cursor here, it will show the value and will display it in this h1 tag. Okay, clear? What are we doing? So basically, if we move a mouse from one place to another, it will change the x-axis and y-axis values from here. Okay, so this is useful when you are making some drawing application, you have to track the cursor at what particular point it's used. So in those cases it's really helpful. So what I'll do is I'll show mouse x value, mouse x value, and dollar, same thing. Okay, I use normal. Okay, so here's mouse x. And what's the command for x? Anyone? If you have to show the value on an element, what should we do? What's the command to show mouse x and mouse y values? We studied two of them. Any of them you can use, but it's better to use the one which is on element. So we'll use e dot offset x, and here we'll show that particular value. Okay, similarly e dot offset y, and whenever we hover over them, whenever we mouse move, this function will move, this function will be executed. Okay, so as soon as we move it, it should typically change the value. Okay, so you can see as I am moving my cursor, x and y axis is changed, and as I am using the offset command, it shows the value starting from this as an origin, and then the values as we go down, the y axis values increase, and if I move in this direction, x axis value increases. Okay, this is a little bit fun initially, so you can try this out, you can check this kind of thing out. Okay, also we can do something more fun with this. What we'll do is we'll change the background color also. Okay, so we studied RGB values. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do document dot body, and then we'll change the style for it, style dot background color, and we'll change the background color too. So this might be a little bit interesting as you are seeing more of the UI thing. So here also we'll use this, and we'll change RGB values. So RGB values has 3 values specifically. What are they? Anyone? What are they called? 3 values. Anyone? What are these 3 values? RGB stands for these 3 values. What are these 3 values? No one? What is the purpose of dollar? Okay, so whenever you have a this title doesn't understand if you are using something like this, if you are using a variable. So we have to use dollar and brackets to define if you are using some variable. So here if you are using some variable inside it, you have to always keep the convention of dollar and brackets to define that this is some variable, this is not a normal text. So if you not write a normal text next to it, it will work like that, but it won't understand if this is a variable. If I remove this, it will normally work as a text. So to make JS understand this is a variable, you have to use dollar and parenthesis, like this curly parenthesis for this. Okay, what are the full form of RGB values, or what are these 3 values in RGB?
Red, green, blue.
Yes. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll map this with offset x and offset y, and as we move in values, we can see the background also changing with it. Okay, so see, so as soon as I move values, you can see the background also changes. Okay, this looks little bit fun, but
Sir, how the value is showing the screen?
yes,
On the screen I am.
okay, I'll explain again. So mouse move event fires up whenever you move the mouse. Okay, so this function runs n number of times as I move the mouse. Okay, that's why I've used this specific function. Then what are we doing is with mouse x and mouse y, we are printing offset values of x and y. Offset values of x and y are typically these values starting from 0, and then we move down to x and y axis. So we are printing elements x and y value with respect to origin. Okay, then using RGB, what I have done is I have specified the x value as this, x value as the offset x, and the y value is an offset y. And z I have taken some random value. You can take anything which you like. So if you can take 100 also, you can take 200 also. the colors will be different accordingly. So if you want to change that, you can do it. It's completely on you. And I've used document.body.style.background color. So background color, it changes the background color of the object, and using RGB have changed the color. You can take you can pick HSL values also, but the problem with HSL is it doesn't extend up to 200 or 400. So here you have some values above 200 also, so we have something above 400 also. So that's why I've taken this. As you can see, different color changes inside it. Other than this, if you take any other method like HSL or hex code, you can't do such kind of thing with it. So anyway, now you must be clear with mouse X, mouse Y, offset and E type, event type. Any doubts with this?
So the value of E dot offset X is showing directly on the web page.
Yes, it's showing directly on the web page. You can see this value is offset X. So
I thought it will be showing on console.
you can do that. You can, if you want to print it on console, you can. What you have to do is you have to just print console.log, and you can print that value here. So if you want to print offset values here, you can do same thing. I'll copy the same thing here, and you can see those values here also. So just console log if you have to see something on console. See, as soon as I'm moving it, it will fire two events together, mouse event also and mouse X, mouse Y also. But I wanted to show it more visual in more visual way. That's why I've replaced it with X and Y elements of HTML. So you love to do HTML CSS. That's why it's always better to integrate this with HTML CSS. This is a fun project. Do try making this at home. So this is a really good fun project you can do. Changing different values with mouse X, mouse Y. Okay. Any doubts up till now? Do try this. You must have understood the function of mouse X, mouse Y, and event types now. Okay. What I'll do is I'll get my charger till then. If you have doubts, just put it up in chat. Any doubts? No, I think no doubts then.
Sir, sir, can you please again explain the difference between mouse move and mouse over?
Okay, I'll explain it again. Okay, I'll comment this till then, and I'll comment this out. Okay, mouse over and mouse out. I'll explain this. Okay, so what happens is mouse over, mouse event are fired. Can I even give a summary? Okay, sure. Okay, mouse over and mouse out are basically very useful. So suppose if you go inside this card, it should normally work. If you go inside this card, it shows mouse over at that particular moment. So I'll take. So as soon as I go inside the card, it shows mouse over. Okay, and mouse out it's showing because there's a tag or something present there. So if I go inside, always it will show mouse over. If I go over some element or if I move over some element, it will show mouse out at that particular moment. So if I remove my cursor from here and move somewhere else, it will show mouse out. It shows mouse over here. So yes, if I move my cursor over this element, it shows mouse out at that particular moment because this is a link tag here. So if I move something outside this, it shows mouse out and mouse over it. Okay, I'll take another example. I'll create one more button here and I'll add a line between them. So okay, so as soon as I enter, mouse over is fired, and if I go over a button, it shows mouse out at that particular moment also. Okay, So difference is that mouse over and mouse out work on if you go over specific elements present in your HTML. If you have a card inside this card, if you have something inside this, if you have another card embedded inside it, mouse over will go over that, and it will show that mouse has been exited. Mouse over works if you are on that object. This is the working breathing space for it. So this area inside it will be breathing space for it if you have any element over that particular card. So if you have button, or if you have a list, if you have an option tag, if you have something like that, in those cases it shows that mouse out and mouse over will show at that particular moment, and it will move from that particular place. So if this is a list, if I move outside this list, it should show mouse out and it will move away from it. So in those cases, mouse out and mouse over will work. I don't have a specific example here. If I had it, I would have shown you the difference better. The difference is basically the canvas for it is basically the complete white area, but if you have some element over the card, it shows mouse over and mouse out on that particular element also. So if this is a button, it should show mouse out and mouse over on this too, but I don't know why it's not showing. Should work with this. Okay, I'll take a better example. Yesterday I'll take like 4 or 5 elements and then explain, so you will be able to see it better. I think it's a small button, that's why it's not showing. If I have one more card inside this, it would have shown that. So I'll take one more card inside it. Or I'll take some other object. We'll take a select and option 1, 2, 3. So this is a shortcut to create number of options. I think now see. So no, still no, it doesn't work. I'll take a better example. What happens is it should whenever you click over or hover over these buttons, mouse over and mouse out should be fired at that particular moment, and it should work with that particular element. If you have something over that particular element, it should work like that. I'll take a better example tomorrow and show you. I think it's not working here specifically. I'll take a better example and then show you these. Okay. Any doubts up till now? Or you can wait at the end of the class, I'll explain this again. Okay. Okay, then we can do is we can also do it on submission of a form. So if you have a form, if you have something on form, if you have made some form inside it, so if you have a form like this, if you have values inside the form, then you can do the same thing with that form also. So we don't have a form as of now. If you had a form, we could do the same thing there also, but okay, if you want, we'll create a form and then show you. Okay, let's create a form then. Okay, and we don't need a button, so we'll add this button inside it only. Change the class name to something like this. Okay, so this is a form tag. In this form tag, we can do is we can change a value, or we can remove this placeholder, add a task using HTML CSS. So if you want to change the text inside it, so if you have to delete the text inside the placeholder, how can we do it? Anyone? Or if I give a, instead of placeholder, if I give a value, what will happen? Anyone? Instead of placeholder, if I have given a value, what will happen? This is a HTML question. You can
Value will be shown.
value will be shown. So what happens? A text by default is added. Yes. So add a task. By default, text will be added. You can remove this text, but by default, a text will be written here. Okay. To remove this text, we can do it through JS. What we'll do is we'll first call that particular form element. So const form and document dot query selector, and we'll call that form element dot form, or we'll take that task input element. What's the input element name? Input element name, type text. We'll add a class input dot input, and then we can change the value of this element. So we can do form dot value, and we can set this to none, and now the text input will be blank. Okay, so to remove or add text also with value, you can do this using JS. Also you can modify the value. First HTML runs, then JS runs. This is the example. You can see the difference is whenever by default by HTML add a task will be added, and when JS runs it replaces it with blank code, so nothing will be printed here. If you want to add some personalized text, you can add W here and that will be printed there, but if you don't want to, you can remove text like this. Okay, any doubts in this, how to remove text from particularly form elements or something like that? We'll study keyboard elements tomorrow, so that's why just for that I have created a form today. Okay, and can anyone give a summary for what we have done today? We covered different topics. I'll make, yes, can anyone give a summary if possible?
So can you please show that form code again, the HTML and the JavaScript code?
Okay, here I have created an input value and add a task element with a class name input, and here I have created two classes. You can remove that instead, keep a single class, and here I have called a simple button inside it, and here I have deleted that using query selector and form dot value to null. You can do anything, you can replace the value. Value is basically whatever is present in this field, so you can, to do that basically we use this. Okay, so form dot.
Okay.
Yeah, one quick question. Okay, so uh, just tell us like how can we make the class more interesting? Like what you need from us? Like whatever we are teaching, is it fine, or we want some examples, or what you want? Just give some advice. So everything is fine, right?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can start with an example for a topic.
Like today, see, like today we the class is on completely on like event listeners,
Example.
event handlers.
Yes.
Okay, so Anush has given examples. So is it enough, or you want more examples, or what kind of examples?
For now, it is clear, sir, for this
Yeah,
topic.
yeah. So you want every class to be like this interact means example, more example, less theory, or more theory, less example.
So it would be good if if you have examples, because like if you have a proper page structure and then we'll get like use this event just for here, and then sir made form at the end. So we got to know, okay, we use this in the form. So similarly, if we get to know where we can use it practically, so then we will understand it better, because in the end we have to use it for practical purpose only.
Yeah, Kansha, we'll note that. And any more, uh, any more questions?
With example, we can learn more the real project.
Okay. hmm And what about theory? Like whatever we are teaching, the way we teach, is it fine, or you want to give some suggestions? Fine, right?
It is fine, so
Yeah, fine. Please
Yeah,
teach
yeah.
JS slowly, because it gets पूरा दिमाग के ऊपर से चला जाता है अगर बहुत
Yeah,
एक
yeah.
ही दिन
That's
पढ़
what.
ले तो.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm also thinking. Like too much theory, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So more examples. So we'll notice. We'll keep that in our mind, and we'll uh, take care in the next classes.
Okay, today I took example खुद से ही बनाया, then the color thing which you had today.
Yeah.
So that would be fun for you guys. So you could have understood mouse events. It was fine.
Is fine or mental. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll take
Uh,
better examples tomorrow. I'll take, what I'll do is I'll grab 5 or 6 projects of mine which I did in JS, and I'll show you where specifically what was used.
see, guys. Like actually, the thing is that we are also not free, right? We have to find some time for you, and we have to uh, give get some examples. Okay, that examples maybe not enough, but whatever time we got, we just save some time to give you some examples. So what I suggest, you should also try from your side, do some examples. If you have any doubt, bring those examples so that we can also help you.
JS is all about practice, और तुम्हें खुद के projects करना पड़ेगा, so that's important.
जी